Welcome to Italy. The day is May 27th, 1934, and many cities across the country are hosting a second edition of the World Cup. Matches are being played all throughout Italy to determine who would move on to the quarterfinals of the tournament. 1934 did not have group stages. Instead, the round of 16 was the first round and knockouts happened immediately. So some teams traveled halfway across the world to only play a single match before being eliminated. But we'll get to that later. From the quaint Stadio Littorio, now called the Giuseppe Grissar, that seated 8,000 in the far east of the nation, to the legendary San Siro, that fit 55,000 at the time, nations were fighting for a spot among the 8 best. Now this video is a continuation of an ELO rating series that I started with the 1930 World Cup, where I track the ratings of countries in matches in the World Cup. I don't count matches such as friendlies or other competitions, or even qualifiers, as I aim to find the best country in this tournament specifically. I won't spoil the 1930 World Cup, although it did happen almost 100 years ago. I recommend watching that video first, as I explain my method in greater detail. In this video, I'm only going to cover a brief explanation. I actually use FIFA's current rating method, but make some slight modifications, namely adding a goal differential factor and accounting for home field advantage. This is the formula I use, and this is what each variable means. The P's are the points before and after the match, I is the importance of the match, and the knockout rounds have an importance factor of 60, while the group stage matches have a factor of 50. I know this says that it's the quarterfinal stages. I think that the round of 16 is just as important as a quarterfinal, as you are eliminated out of the World Cup if you lose in either round. W is the result of the game, which is pretty self-explanatory. 1 for a win, 0.5 for a draw, and 0 for a loss. W sub E is the expected result of the match, which uses the difference in ratings between the two countries and this formula. The host nation, in this case Italy, has an advantage playing at home, and as such, their formula is slightly modified by adding 80 to the rating differential. Host nations will gain less points from winning and drop more points from losing in group stages. The final factor is the goal difference, and this factor gives more points to a team if they win a game by more goals. Let's take a step back and see who has qualified for this tournament and how they did so. 32 teams entered qualification, however, only half were allowed to participate. Despite being hosts, Italy also had to qualify. I wonder what would have happened if they had failed to. Benito probably would have made sure that did not happen. 21 teams were European, and they were split into 8 groups. The groups were split into geographic zones, and the qualified teams were Sweden from Group 1, eliminating Estonia and Lithuania, Spain from Group 2, eliminating Portugal, Italy from Group 3, eliminating Greece, Hungary and Austria from Group 4, eliminating Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia from Group 5, eliminating Poland, Romania and Switzerland from Group 6, eliminating Yugoslavia, the Netherlands and Belgium from Group 7, eliminating Ireland, and Germany and France from Group 8, eliminating Luxembourg. Peru withdrew from qualification, leaving Brazil qualified in Group 9. Chile would also withdraw, leaving Argentina qualified from Group 10. Group 11 was more complex. Round 1 consisted of Cuba and Haiti playing a best of 3, with the winner, in this case Cuba, playing Mexico and another best of 3 for qualification. Mexico won that series and were guaranteed qualification before the United States submitted their late entry and beat Mexico in a game just 3 days before the start of the tournament in Rome. This means that Mexico traveled across the Atlantic Ocean by boat, about a week-long trip, just to not participate in the World Cup, while the United States participated. Egypt was the first African country to participate in a World Cup, as they qualified from Group 12, eliminating Palestine and Turkey. 6 teams returned from 1930. From lowest rated to highest rated, those were Belgium, Romania, France, Brazil, the US, and Argentina. There were also 10 debutantes, all new teams rated at 1,000. The round of 16 began on May 27th, and matches were played simultaneously throughout all of Italy. Some nations were eliminated after the first game. For this reason, no team's rating dropped during this tournament, and the importance factor is a 60 for all matches. We'll cover these from the most expected result to the biggest upset. The most expected result was debutantes Germany beating a 931 rated Belgium. Germany were rated 69 points higher. The second most expected result was also a debuting team in Czechoslovakia winning over a 989 rated Romania side. The difference between these two was only 11 points. Once again, a debuting team, in this case Austria, were victorious over a returning nation. The difference between these two was just over 7. 2 matches in which there were no mathematical favorite was Switzerland's victory over the Netherlands and Hungary's win over Egypt. Newcomer Spain were able to beat a 1,020 rated Brazil despite being rated 20 points lower. Hosts Italy were not the mathematical favorites when they faced a 1,084 rated United States, who had finished third place back in 1930. Although this perception would soon change as the hosts thrashed the US 7-1. The biggest upset in the round was a 1,157 rated Argentina falling to a debuting Sweden. Moving on to the quarterfinals. The highest rated team was not the hosts at 1,064, followed by Spain at 1,046.74. Germany was next with 1,045.63 points, followed closely by Hungary at 1,045. Sweden beat the highest rated team in the previous round, but did so by only a single goal for a rating of 1,038.8. Switzerland was next at 1,030, and Austria was just behind at 1,029.58. The lowest rated team is not far off, which is Czechoslovakia, with a rating of 1,029.37. I will cover the matches in the quarterfinals from most even to least even, although all matchups were pretty even among teams, with a single goal being the decider in all four matches. Starting in Torino, we have the most even encounter between Switzerland and Czechoslovakia, the difference in rating being less than 1. Since they were so evenly rated, either team could be expected to win. It was a slight victory to the lower rated Czechoslovakia, who managed to win 3-2. Next is Germany's win over Sweden in Milano. The favorites were victorious, although they were only ahead by 7 points. The biggest upset of the round was Austria winning in Bologna over a Hungary side that was rated over 15 points higher. The big matchup of the round was between the hosts and the second highest rated team this round. Both teams scored in the first half, but were unable to score in the second half or even in extra time. So, penalties, right? Not exactly. Penalties weren't really a thing for another 50 years, so replay had to be played the next day. This was also the first draw in World Cup history. The first edition in 1930 had no draws. I was debating on how I should include a draw. Should the original match and the replay be considered as one, or should they be considered separate? I decided to consider them separately, just because doing so otherwise would discredit the draw of the first match. So thanks to their draw in the first match, Spain actually increased their rating by 1 point to 1,047.74. In the replay, Italy scored a single goal to advance to the semifinals, eliminating Spain. The semifinalists in order from lowest to highest were Czechoslovakia at 1,059.4, Austria at 1,060.47, Germany at 1,075.24, and the hosts Italy at 1,088.73. The more even semifinal turned out to be the one with the largest score margin. Czechoslovakia were victorious over Germany in the Italian capital, despite being rated over 15 points lower. This match had controversial refereeing. The referee for this match, Rinaldo Barlasina, Italian obviously, is claimed to have wanted Italy to face the weaker team in the final, Czechoslovakia. In the other semifinal, the host and favorite Italy were victorious in Milano, thanks to a first half goal. Third place match was played on June 7th between Germany and Austria in Napoli. The higher rated Germans were victorious 3-2. Third place matches will be weighed just as heavily as a knockout round, even though technically it kinda isn't, but it is because you're playing for a medal and a spot on the podium, so I'd say it's pretty important. The final was to be played in the Italian capital in front of a crowd of 55,000 and in the presence of a certain square-jawed, garlic-smelling Italian little man. A very politically heavy match, as the fascists of the Mediterranean Peninsula faced off against the communists of the Carpathians. Despite scoring in the 71st minute, the Czechoslovakians conceded 10 minutes later, and the match went into extra time, where Italy managed to win the World Cup on home soil. Italy became the second country to win the World Cup and the second host to do so. The tournament has a lot of background to it. Mussolini wanted to show the power and efficiency of the fascist state and have the tournament act as propaganda for his state, the Kingdom of Italy at the time. One way to show this was to have simultaneous kickoffs throughout the country. Mussolini is rumored to have handpicked the referees for the matches that Italy participated in. Additionally, the Italian state ordered a trophy to be made that was much bigger than the Jules Rimet trophy, which was usually awarded by FIFA. This World Cup is certainly tainted by outside political influences. Italy were ultimately victorious in earning their first star. Let's take a look at the final rankings and ratings of just the participants of this World Cup. 6 of the lowest rated teams are the same as those eliminated in the round of 16, which makes total sense. In ascending order, these are Belgium, Romania, France, Egypt, the Netherlands, and Brazil. The next 4 teams are European debutants that got eliminated in the quarterfinals. They all had a win in the round of 16 and therefore got an increase in their rating. Switzerland is the lowest of these with 1,030 and ranked 10th. Sweden is just ahead with a rating of 1038.8 in ninth. Hungary just edges them out with a rating of 1045 in 8th, and Spain leads the way at 1047.74 in 7th place. Losers of the bronze medal match, Austria is next with a rating of 1060.47 in 6th, followed by the United States with a rating of 1083.8, inherited from 1930. Despite being the worst team in this tournament, they are still the 5th best World Cup team, according to my system. Germany is in 4th place with a rating of 1104 thanks to winning bronze. Runners-up Czechoslovakia are ranked 3rd with a final rating of 1105.7, just ahead of Germany. And the winners, Italy, are in 2nd place with a final rating of 1137.6. In 2nd? Yeah. Despite winning the World Cup, they are not the best rated team according to my system. That award goes to Argentina, despite losing in the round of 16th. Spoilers. Their 1930 runners-up tournament is carrying them really hard. This seems to show an apparent flaw in my system, since Argentina are ranked number 1 both in 1930 and here in 1934, despite not winning either tournament. But when you dig a little deeper, it starts to make some sense. Both Uruguay and Italy won the tournament as hosts, and as such received less points than they would otherwise. The terrible format of the 1934 World Cup is also to blame, as knockouts are used immediately instead of group stages. This is what prevented the ratings of both Argentina and the United States from dropping, despite their early exits in the round of 16. I still believe in the merit of my system, and I like it because almost every other World Cup has group stages, and this will balance out as more matches are played. These early tournaments are a bit wonky since all the teams are relatively close to each other in ratings. Jumping to an all-time ranking, including nations that participated in 1930 but not in 1934, gives us a few more surprises. Not only is Argentina ahead of Italy, but so is Uruguay. Following Italy are the 2 other medal winners of 1934 in order. Looking at the rankings, most countries debuting in 1934 are found in the upper half of the ranking. The finalists of the 2 World Cups make up the top 4, followed by the 3rd placed teams and then the 4th placed teams. The European debutants round out the top 12, while the bottom 11 either did not participate or lost in the first round. It's odd seeing what we now consider powerhouses like Belgium, the Netherlands, and Brazil in the bottom half, while countries like the United States and Austria are in the upper half. Not to mention that Czechoslovakia and Yugoslavia no longer exist. The biggest improver was Italy, who gained 137.6 points and placed the 3rd. There was no loser since no teams lost points, but the 7 bottom teams in the all-time ranking dropped due to the inability of debutants to go under 1,000 points despite losing. Italy holds many distinctions in this edition of the World Cup. They were the only host ever required to qualify. They were the team that played the most matches thanks to their replay with Spain in the quarterfinals. According to my system, they were the team that won the most amount of points from a win after thrashing a higher rated US 7-1 in the round of 16th, gaining 64.22 points. They were also the team to earn the least amount of points from a win when they beat a lower rated Austria by a single goal in the semifinals and only gained 23.86 points. Thanks to their draw with Italy, Spain gained the least amount of points from a match, since they were lower rated by 16.5 points. Comparing the all-time ranking following the 1934 World Cup and the final official placements of this tournament, you can find the biggest flop of the tournament. Of course, this was Argentina, not making it out of the round of 16 despite being the highest ranked country. However, this does have some explanation. Argentina did take a primarily amateur side due to internal disputes within the Confederation. Clubs in Argentina refused to let their players be called up to the national team. The United States was also another big flop, being the 6th best ranked country at the end of the tournament, but finishing dead last. So this rounds out the 1934 tournament. If you enjoyed the video and would like to see this series continue, don't forget to subscribe so you can come and watch the next World Cup in France. I'll meet you at the Eiffel Tower in 4 years. Thanks for watching.